There we go.
Hello and welcome. So glad to have you here. We're talking about Reclaim Your Joy today and why it's so powerful to commit to reclaiming your joy over the holiday season. We're going to talk about what that means to us as body inclusive intuitive eating coaches. We're going to talk about diet culture through the lens of healing with the plants. And we're going to dive into some really deep, expansive topics today that have to do with reclaiming your health, not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. So welcome to Reclaim Your Joy. My name is Nova, and I'm joined here by my co-host and colleague and co-creator of this incredible 30-day transformation program we're going to be sharing with you today called Reclamation. So stay tuned to hear all the details about that. But first, I'd love to dive a little bit into my personal story and why this topic is so moving to me on a personal level. And then I'd love to pass it over to Lake so you can hear about her story, which is extremely inspiring as well. So you can get a little feel for how we want to open up this conversation of reclaiming our joy with ourselves and how we can open up that conversation in the world. Because really, these are the times for us to be in our joy, in our sovereignty, in our peace, so that we can create the life that we wish to create for ourselves and create the world that we wish to see. So today we're going to be diving also into learning more about intuitive eating and health at every size. So these are lenses that Lake and I have become personally really connected with because of our own journeys on finding what health really means to us and navigating through the jungle of misinformation and confusing body image challenges that come up when we're just trying to simply be well in our bodies and be giving our bodies what they really need on a basic level. There can be so much confusion around that. So we're here to really dive in today and help you sort through that on a more spiritual resonant level. So I'd love to share with you a little bit about my journey, especially around the holidays. I used to really struggle with binge eating. I struggled with binge eating all the time, but disordered eating behaviors such as purging as well on occasion. And really, it was just a negative body image that was connected with my negative self-worth. I really did not know what self-love meant at all. It was a great idea as a concept, but I had no idea how to put that into practice because I just wasn't feeling it in my body. I felt heavy. I felt depressed. I struggled also with anxiety and extreme fear, unhealed trauma. And my nervous system was just activated all the time. So especially around the holidays, I really struggled to deal with all of the emotions that were coming up around this time of year, all of the relationship stuff that was coming up. And that was all, that challenge really was reflecting of how I felt internally. I felt disconnected. I felt unintegrated. I felt really lost on a very deep soul level. And all of this I didn't know at the time was connected to my gut health and my hormonal health. But even though I was researching these topics as much as I could, starting to dive in and really learn about all of these connections within the body, I started to understand a little bit more and more and be guided intuitively. And along this self-healing path, we really are our own shaman. We're our own doctor. We're our own guide. There's no one else who really is looking out for our best interest more than we are in our bodies. And there's no one who's more of an expert on our bodies than us, no matter what tests we get done or anything like that. So I really took on that responsibility of being my own intuitive guide, my own intuitive self-healer. And I started to learn about intuitive eating. And when I discovered intuitive eating, I saw that my motivations around things like trying to go vegan or go keto or whatever, these extreme kind of ways I was being pulled in all these different directions, I realized that was really due to disordered eating behaviors and thoughts that were still haunting me, even though what I thought I was pursuing was my health. So when all of this started to come to light, I realized this extremism really wasn't the way to go. Intuitive eating taught me that I could be flexible, I could have fun, I could really listen to my body and focus on what I'm going to put in that's going to give me a lot of nutrition and support mentally and emotionally and physically, and not worry about just having some fun foods every once in a while, and especially around the holidays when it's the time to enjoy each other, celebrate, have fun. We don't want to be in our heads worrying about food. So now that I've embraced intuitive eating, I really let myself enjoy, because I'm giving myself daily nutrition and detoxification with superfoods every single day. So when I'm supporting myself in that way on such a deep level, it's okay for me to have an occasional treat here or there, or have sugar or things like that, which I know I'm very sensitive and I'm very addicted to sugar if I start to add that in. So I can have natural sugars, and I can have a little bit of artificial sugar here and there, when that used to really trigger my gut. Having a little bit of gluten or a little bit of this or that would really trigger me, and I'd inflame. I'd go into mental health spirals, manic depression symptoms. Now I can have a little bit of that and not stress about it. And let me tell you, having the joyful attitude really is a huge transformation as well. I get to enjoy family time and friend time and celebration holiday time so much more. So that's a little bit about my story, a little bit about my background. I'd love to pass it over to Lake now so she can share about her intuitive eating journey throughout the holiday season.
Thank you, Nova. I'm feeling really inspired by your share, and every time I hear your journey, especially concentrating on the holiday time, is really, really inspiring and really great to hear. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for those who are tuning in. If this is the first time we are meeting, hello, I am Lake. I am a size-inclusive yoga teacher, along with an intuitive eating coach, alongside Nova. And yeah, getting a little bit into my history, into my journey, or my mindset around the holidays, I would say, especially in my young adulthood, as a kid, I always loved the holidays. I grew up in a family where we love food, we love cooking big meals, grandparents would come in, everyone would throw in a dish, and the holidays were always so centered around the table and food, and I enjoyed that so much as a kid. And then when I became a young adult in my 20s, it got so complicated at that point, in where I would have to say I would check out around the holidays. As soon as Halloween hit and beyond, Thanksgiving and then Christmas, I would check out in terms of my connection to like what I was eating. I would just eat and eat and eat for enjoyment without really being conscious around that. And then I would, come January 1st, hop on that diet bandwagon and get a gym membership and try the latest fad, whether that was keto or low fat diets or whatever I was trying that year. I've been a yo-yo dieter my entire young adult life. And that would be my cycle. The October season would roll around, and then I would just go into hibernation, eating mode, and come out January 1st, like feeling really bad about my body and feeling like what I just did was so wrong. Like it was wrong for eating, I was wrong for enjoying. And when I was in that mindset, it was like I didn't feel fullness. I always felt hunger, but I never felt full or satisfied, because there was this guilt that I felt around eating. And so it took me having to recognize that that pattern was put in place through the industry we call diet culture. And I learned it from my mom, who learned it from her mom, along this like generational path of different diets. You know, my mom did Atkins, my grandma, I'm not sure what they were calling it back then. But even now today, when I gather around the table with them, I see those family patterns still happening, to where there's just a lot of guilt and a lot of shame around enjoying food. And my journey around intuitive eating has allowed me to kind of really look at those patterns and look at where did that come from. And so fast forward to today, where this is now my third holiday season since I've adopted a intuitive eating lifestyle, since I've adopted gentle nutrition, and since I've really examined my mental, emotional relationship with food. And now I'm entering the holiday season so excited and completely present with what I'm going to eat and what I'm going to enjoy, figuring out my Thanksgiving menu without thinking, okay, I need to find the fat-free stuffing recipe, or I need to find the quote unquote healthy version of this, where I can just cook what I enjoy and eat it and be really present with it, and not going to that extreme of eating and eating and eating because I know January 1st I have to stop. It's like, it's just breaking that cycle. It's so powerful. It's just so powerful. And that's what we want to invite you to do, the same, that same journey of examining these patterns that you may have developed over your lifetime and over generations of your family's lifetimes, and really examining, like, is this serving me? Is this really, really how I want to live the rest of my life? Or do we want to infuse joy and love and presence and compassion to our eating? I mean, I'm just really, really stoked and really excited to be sharing this journey with all of you. Thank you for letting me share my story. Nova, I would love for us to open it up into our next portion of sharing about this wonderful journey. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass it back to you.
Thank you, Lake. Wow, your story is so relatable. The pre-thought of I'm gonna have to stop, it puts us into this fight or flight mode where we just go, and that's exactly what we're talking about, is the restrict binge cycle. When we restrict, or even when we perceive that we're going to be restricting in the future, it makes us want to binge in the present. And, how many times have I had that last supper? Oh, I'm just going to finish this one ice cream or whatever, and then I'm done. And it's this extremism that is really, really tough on our mental health, and finding that compassion and flow and ease is just, I never thought I would be in a place like this where I can really dissect and heal the trauma that I picked up around my family and food. I know we all have a different background around that. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your perspective. I know there's a lot of people listening to this who are going to be able to really relate with that. So I would love to talk about a couple of the intuitive eating principles, since this is a huge portion of the curriculum that has changed my life and Lake's life, and is a part of what we teach and share in our 30-day transformation program, Reclamation, is the intuitive eating curriculum. So there are 10 principles of intuitive eating. We're going to talk about a couple of them each today. I would love to first talk about joyful movement. This was a huge phenomenon for me when I learned about joyful movement, because not only is there diet culture, but diet culture includes this overactive fitness culture, this obsessive kind of fitness culture that's very comparative. It's very based on physical looks and how the body physically looks, as opposed to actual health and understanding more about what's healthy. There's this outward approach that's really focused upon. And so in the fitness world, a lot of us are taught, like, oh, in order to burn fat, we have to do cardio. And so we get on these treadmills or these stair climbers or whatever it is. And I've learned over time and learning more about joyful movement practices, that actually doing this same repetitive motion over and over again, that's not, first of all, that doesn't spark joy for most people. It doesn't incite or spark joy. And either way, it's not how our bodies were designed to move. Our bodies were designed to be, on the ground and sitting and standing and squatting and moving in all of these different ways because of how we interact with our environment. And there's nothing about doing the same motion over and over again that is inspiring to the body, especially if you are in a female body or you're in touch with your feminine, no matter what kind of body you're in. A lot of feminine energy just loves to move. And the intuition is all about being in touch with your feminine receptivity, your feminine energy to receive intuitive knowing and to move from that place, because that's when we know that we're aligned on our self-healing path. So joyful movement is about, instead of forcing yourself into a box of what kind of movement you think you should be doing for exercise, fitness, whatever type of movement you like to have in your practice for your physical health and your enjoyment and staying limber and moving your body, find a way to do that in a way that brings you joy. For me, that's a lot more gentle than doing things like cardio. Cardio is way too much energy for me. And I like to have gentle movement, yoga, stretching. I like to get in the sauna and do a lot of arm rolls and just open up and lubricate my joints by just making sure I'm extending my energy and my body in all these different directions, so I don't get stuck in, the same type of, typing and driving type of thing. We spend a lot of our days doing those same repetitive type of motions already when we're sitting at the computer or when we're driving. So to be able to really mix that up and have fun with that, and find what kind of movement brings you joy genuinely. And I also want to talk about another intuitive eating principle, which is honor your hunger. Honor your hunger. And that also includes to honor our fullness. So it's a lot easier to navigate the holidays when we know food is available. I am safe. Food is available. There will be more opportunities. So when we want to eat and we're hungry, make sure that you have food available on hand. Keep snacks with you if you're getting busy with family and running errands and shopping and things like that. Make sure that you always have food available to you so that you're not in a panic situation and then grabbing for food that may not be in your best interest of how you want to feel in that moment. Make sure to have snacks on hand and honor when you're hungry. Eat when you're hungry, always, no matter what time of day it is, no matter what the situation is. If you're caught out without food, you can go to a grocery store and you can pick something up. So always make sure that you're giving your body that level of safety and trust. This is how we rebuild body trust. When we've been told to not trust our signals and do what the diet plan says, we need to start this process of relearning body trust, which is when we get a signal, we respond to that. When we feel hunger, we respond to that and we provide food, we provide nourishment and sustenance for the body. That's how we rebuild that trusting relationship, which heightens our intuition and makes it louder and more clear to hear. So those are two that I thought were really helpful. And I'd love to pass it off to you, Lake, to talk about a couple more intuitive eating principles that were inspiring us this holiday season.
So powerful. Wow. I really love those two principles. And one that I think really weaves into that concept of honor your hunger, honor your fullness. Taking it another step further, especially this holiday season, is to find your satisfaction factor. There's foods that you enjoy and satisfy you, and there's foods that they're kind of uninspiring and you don't love them. And diet culture has us disillusioned around enjoying food, especially foods that give us a satisfaction factor. And so intuitive eating invites in this principle, why it's one of the 10 foundational principles of intuitive eating, is when we satisfy our cravings, when we satisfy ourselves with food we actually enjoy, we can find that fullness factor more readily, because we feel like we actually got to the root of what we wanted, whether we're craving something sweet or something savory, especially around the holidays. If grandmama makes this, or whomever in your family makes this signature dish, and it's like that difference between just taking just a little sliver of it, but not really feeling satisfied at the end of it, because you didn't initiate into that fullness factor. You're still feeling empty because you completely threw it out. You didn't allow yourself to have it, or you just allowed yourself just to have a little bit of it, almost like a little teaser. We've all done that before, just a little piece, you know. But is that really satisfying? Is that really what you want, when maybe what you really want is to enjoy your dessert, to enjoy your pie, to enjoy that dish that maybe you spent a couple hours creating? It really is inviting in that joy aspect, and really acknowledging that our health isn't just based on getting all of our vitamins and minerals and nutrients, which is important. We're going to talk about that next, but I want to bring in satisfaction first, especially around the holidays, because eating can be an experience that not only fills up your belly, but fills up your heart, and really gives you joy and satisfaction because of the specialness, the all of the intention and love and time that was put into creating this food item, to really just allow yourself to have that full slice of pie. And then you won't be thinking about it. You won't be thinking like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish I needed that. You know, it's just like, just allow yourself to be in that enjoyment, which sounds, I know how I'm saying it might sound like a really simple concept, but when you're there in the moment, and especially after years and years of diet culture programming, it's not that easy of a concept. I so get it. I've been there. And that's why we are in this practice of reclamation, so that we can continue looking and examining and understanding those deeper levels on like, why am I preventing myself from feeling fully satisfied? And we look at all those layers together and really figure out the root of that, so that we can move beyond and find that enjoyment in life. So that's a little bit about discovering your satisfaction factor, really just getting real with what you enjoy and allowing yourself to be satisfied and to be in pleasure with your food. Last one, I'm just looking at my notes. The last one we wanted to share with you is the 10th principle, which is gentle nutrition. I love that the amazing women who created the intuitive eating principles, that they put gentle nutrition in it, because I think that's part of the conversation that anti-diet and like that whole effort diet culture kind of misses on, or goes too far. We like to bring it kind of back into the middle and be like, okay, we're in a body. Our body has specific needs. It needs certain vitamins and minerals and nutrients, proteins and carbs and fats, all of those things in order for it to function, in order for our brain and our eyes and our heart and our lungs and everything to function and heal and regenerate. Our body needs certain building blocks. And so you can't build a house out of styrofoam. So gentle nutrition is that reminder that care for the body, kind of look at it through that scientific lens, you know, taking the emotion that diet culture likes to put in, all of that emotion and shame and fear and all of that, and taking it out and just looking at it in a very realistic way. And so gentle nutrition invites us and lets us know, like, one meal isn't going to make or break us. Like one snack, one dinner, one holiday feast isn't going to make or break your health, but it's those daily habits and your baseline. What are you doing on a daily self-care routine to support your body? And that's really one huge aspect of Reclamation, is that gentle nutrition bit, is weaving in core nutrients, looking at the body on a systems, on a whole, like looking at all the systems and bringing it all together and figuring out how can we support our body's systems without going into that extremism that diet culture can have. And so I wanted to talk about gentle nutrition because it's been a huge life changer for me to be able to nourish my body without thinking I'm on a quote unquote diet. And it's really set me up for life to find that satisfaction factor and to really know those hunger cues and those fullness cues and to feel good in my body and move in my body in such a joyful way. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass it back to Nova. She's going to share a little bit more about what exactly Reclamation is and what you can expect in these 30 days that you'll be taking with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lake. That was so beautiful, so beautifully said, and so many incredible insights and golden nuggets were coming out and popping out at me when you were sharing, especially around gentle nutrition and having this balance of daily lifestyle habits versus just the one-off holiday feast or enjoying different snacks or fun foods on occasion, and how when we have that daily nutrition, it sets a foundation for our gut health, our hormonal health, our mental health, our physical health, our ability to detoxify and heal naturally and have strong immunity naturally. All of that is supported by those daily habits. So the core 4 nutrients that we're going to be pairing into the mental work that we're doing in Reclamation, we're going to talk about in just a moment here. So Reclamation is a 30-day online and in-person for yourself at a DIY, has a DIY kit that you can bring home to have a personal reclamation while we're connecting in the online space. So it has this dual function, really connecting on these multiple levels to understand from a mind, body, spirit level, how can we detoxify our bodies in an intuitive way? How can we nourish our bodies in an intuitive way? And that's going to come really from adding in abundance of support. So many of us in the standard American diet are overly fed, but undernourished. Let me say that one more time. Overly fed with calories and basically empty calories, like you were talking about styrofoam, right? These empty substances, but undernourished, not enough vitamins, not enough minerals, not enough fruit and veg. So having support from organic, raw, live plant nutrition is what we're going to be doing with these DIY at-home kits that will be mailed to you so you can have this experience for yourself, but you're not doing it by yourself. We have this online connective space where we'll be receiving inspirational media, podcasts, and journal prompts, and having connection emotionally through our processes in chat groups. We'll also be doing weekly yoga that's led by Lake online. It's an incredible yin yoga class. So we'll have lots of spaces to connect and really be able to support each other and reflect with each other and heal with each other through this process together as we're learning more about our own concepts and thought patterns around diet culture and self-talk, and sometimes harmful self-talk. We can have a place to come together and heal those things that need to be witnessed and seen and received. Now, while we're doing that emotional and mental work, the plants are going to be doing the physical work for us. They're going to be detoxing our bodies, supporting us to have nutrition, to feed healthy cells. So healthy cells are repopulating faster, and we're really having cellular regeneration. We're detoxing on a level that our body is able to lift a little bit of the burden off of our detoxification organs, lift a little bit of the burden off of our immune function, and start to free up more energy within our body to do more of what it does naturally, which is heal and thrive. So in order to do that, we're going to be focusing on 4 core nutrients. That's our protein, fruits, vegetables, as well as our probiotic, prebiotic, and pesticide detox. That's all in one for number 4. So our protein comes from all completely plant-based sources. It's all made from chickpeas to create a master amino acid complex that feeds our muscles and actually grows our muscles even without exercise. So even doing gentle movement like yoga, you're going to be building muscle naturally. And having a protein source is extremely important when you're doing especially a plant-based cleanse or detoxification, because having a protein source fuels our muscles so that we really have strong muscles and we don't have any kind of atrophy or issues with malnourishment. This is about feeding our body more nutrition, more nourishment, having an abundance of vitamins and minerals, and protein is an important part of that. We also have our fruits that come from the 𝗏𝗏 Tart Cherry concentrate. So Tart Cherry is the strongest form of natural melatonin on the planet. And melatonin helps us sleep, wind down for sleep, heal more while we're sleeping, and have more regenerative sleep. So when we wake up in the morning, we have even more testosterone and serotonin to start our day with a good mood and a lot of energy and confidence towards accomplishing our tasks for the day. So having more melatonin when we go to sleep at night is so helpful for that. And the Tart Cherry is completely bioavailable. It's not like a melatonin supplement that's isolated. It is bioavailable in a whole food nutrition form. So that allows the body to recognize it and utilize it so much more than any sort of isolated supplement. It's not the same as being made from plants. It is a whole food plant source supplementation. So having our fruits and our protein, next we also focus on our vegetables. And with this, we work with a greens and grains smoothie. Now, again, a lot of plant-based cleanses or detoxification programs miss out on having enough grains as a part of the diet. Grains, especially ancient grains, are fuel for our brain and our body. They give us energy. And that's why when you drink a green smoothie, it feels really good, but you end up being really hungry just an hour or a couple hours later. So when you have a green smoothie with all of your greens, your leafy greens, your chlorophyll, and your grasses, and you also have ancient grains with your greens, it adds this incredible satisfaction factor, like we were talking about, where you truly have fuel that you can burn, carbohydrates that you can burn now and take energy into the rest of your day. So this plant-based protocol, this intuitive detoxification, really is unlike any other type of plant-based detoxification or cleanse that's available right now, because it truly, you're going to have more energy as opposed to having less energy like most traditional cleanse protocols. So the last piece of our core 4 nutrients is an all-in-one called the Biomedic. It is a prebiotic, probiotic, and pesticide detox supplement that is made completely from plants. So the Biomedic not only is a probiotic, which a lot of us have heard and know about how probiotics are good bacteria for our gut, but it's also a prebiotic, which is the food for the good bacteria to be able to grow and really take on and thrive in population. So especially when a gut environment is really inflamed and has dealt with chronic inflammation from acidic foods, caffeinated beverages, sugar, alcohol, processed foods, artificial sugars, things like that. It's so inflamed, it can be hard for a probiotic supplement to even take hold and really start to thrive within the gut microbiome. So the Biomedic has probiotics and prebiotics, as well as a pesticide detox to remove glyphosate from the body. Now, glyphosate is the main ingredient in Roundup. It's in so much of our food, the vast majority of our food here in the US. It's even in Whole Foods products, in their 365 products that are not labeled organic. So just to give you an idea about how prevalent this is, even brands like Whole Foods that tout themselves as being really healthy and conscious are even using this very harmful pesticide on their products, on their food products. This is the reason a lot of people are having issues with gluten these days. It may not just be gluten intolerance. They may be having a reaction to the glyphosate pesticide that is laden on these glutinous foods. So detoxing pesticides, specifically glyphosate, out of the body, because it's been found in 99% of Americans, is absolutely incredible. And with this reclamation process, that's the first 30 days of a 60-day protocol that allows for 74% of the glyphosate to be removed out of the body. That's what they found in the preclinical trials that were done, is that after 60 days of this same protocol that we will be sharing the first 30 days together here in the reclamation container, 74% of the glyphosate was removed out of the body. And this is something that our bodies, unfortunately, do not detoxify naturally over time. We must use a compound to remove the glyphosate out of the body because it's a foreign chemical. Our bodies do not know how to handle it. And not only is it a toxic chemical, it also is an antibiotic. That's how it controls the populations of bugs and pests that are on the food, is that they have antibiotic properties. So antibiotics, as we know, are not healthy to be exposed to over and over and over again. They are a once in a while thing in an emergency, and it's really harmful for our gut. It actually, studies have shown that it takes at least 2 years for our gut to repair after antibiotic exposure. So this is another way that we can reduce our antibiotic exposure when there's so many toxic chemicals in the earth these days that we need to be able to remove out of our bodies to be in good health. So this process is really a holistic process where you're working internally with the plant supplementation, you're working externally with the group, and you're also working internally with your own emotional process that is held in the container of the group. So Lake and I needed this type of program when we were on our healing journeys, and there wasn't anything like it out there. So that's why we decided to create this now, because it's such a passion of ours. We wanted to open that invitation to you. So please get in touch with the person who shared this video with you. Let them know that you're ready to reclaim your health. If you're feeling inspired by what you learned today, if you know in your bones that this is resonating with you and this is exactly what you need to do to reclaim your joy and reclaim your natural ability to heal yourself, get back in touch with the person who shared this video with you and let them know. They'll show you the next steps, which will include getting on a personal free discovery call with Lake and myself to learn more about reclamation, and really so we can learn more about you. We would love to know what your background is, what you've tried before, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what you're needing right now, because this really is an act of service that we're bringing into the world to ask those harder questions of how are people needing support? What are they needing support with? Especially women, what are women needing support with in this time that is so much pressure on our bodies and our body image? How can we really support each other and be there for each other to weave a web of healing, of love, and of reconnection with the natural world? When we reconnect with the plants and we invite them into our bodies, when we invest in bringing plant nutrition into our bodies on this pure, deep level, it allows for a transformation of our entire energy bodies as well. And that allows us to step into the world and really be the people that we know that we can be. When we have the energy to do what our dreams are calling of us to do, we're able to show up with more vigor, with more sustainability, with more consistency, towards not only our dreams and goals, but our larger dream for the planet and how we can be a part of creating the world that we wish to see around us. So that is our invitation to you. If you're feeling in resonance with this and you know that this is a part of your path, please reach out to us. We'd be honored to be able to get to know you more and support you along your journey to reclaim your health and your natural ability to heal yourself.